to any other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast.
Hello everybody, and welcome to today's webinar, Learning SEO, Everything Attorneys Need to Know. My name is Brian Harnish, and I am an SEO specialist here at James Publishing. We will be live tweeting during the webinar from @JamesPublishing and the hashtag JamesWebinar. At the end of this webinar, we will have a live Q&A with James Publishing President Travis Hayes. You can ask questions on Twitter, or you can use the chat function on GoToWebinar throughout the presentation.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everybody, welcome to today's webinar, Learning SEO, Everything Attorneys Need to Know. My name is Brian Harnish, and I am an SEO specialist here at James Publishing. We will be live tweeting during the webinar from @JamesPublishing and the hashtag JamesWebinar. At the end of this webinar, we will have a live Q&A with James Publishing President Travis Hayes. You can ask questions on Twitter, or you can use the chat function on GoToWebinar throughout the presentation. I'd like to start off by talking about basic components of a solid optimization strategy. There are three basic components: content, links, and technical SEO. Google has stated time and time again how they prefer providing their users websites with great content that matches their query. And they've also talked about, and Matt Cuss has talked about as recently as last month, how links are never going away, that they are one of the most reliable indicators of a website's success in the search engine. There's a difference between good content and spammy content. Good content is educational, informative, elicits an emotional response, and causes the reader to want to do something. It is helpful and focuses on the reader rather than focusing on the search engines. Bad content really just sits there. It doesn't do anything, and sometimes it can be really annoying. Bad content, for the most part, is keyword stuff and spam to death, meaning that you've probably seen content that has keyword stuff in where it repeats every other word. That is not a good thing to do. One of the best ways to organize content is by creating an editorial calendar. This is important because it is an easy way for you to schedule content automatically or almost automatically. When discussing creating content with your staff, you want to concentrate on who is writing what. What are they writing? When is it due? Where is it coming from? And how is it implemented? And as far as who is writing what, when you concentrate on these details, you can make adjustments as necessary as you get the content, and you can make adjustments to writers, you can make adjustments to the type of content you're posting before anything ever actually goes online. And you can schedule content from 30 days in advance, 60 days, 90 days, even a year in advance if you wanted to get that detailed. But one of the caveats of doing that is that you get bogged down in the details. It's important not to get too detailed, because otherwise you'll be working on all the details and not posting any actual content. When you discuss strategy with your staff, you do want to discuss deadlines as well. And the reason why is because with deadlines, it keeps you on schedule, and also you don't want to focus on how fast, because when you post content too fast, Google is going to red flag your site as spam. You want to focus on how often, and you can post content, say, twice a day or once per day if you want to, because Google likes freshness, and they do have a freshness factor in their algorithm. There are various ways to use different types of content effectively. For example, you can take white papers and you can just share them with everybody you come in contact with. You can take information from white papers and you can turn them into infographics as repurposing that content. You can create videos, ebooks, and opinion editorial pieces from that content as well. Now, content has changed significantly over the past few years, and there's a big difference between traditional content and the new content. It used to be that you basically communicated the message by our product, by our services. It was pushed out to the audience, and it was mostly just text. The new content, however, is now about establishing yourself as an expert. It's about attracting an audience, and it's more multimedia-based and interactive. There are a wide variety of ways to use different types of content effectively. There are a wide variety of ideas for finding great content for attorneys. And one of these great ideas that I use very often myself is creating Google alerts. You can go to google.com/alerts when you're logged into your Google account, and you can set up alerts for a variety of keyword phrases as these stories occur. You can set them up for once a day or as it happens, which can be several times a day depending upon the nature of the industry. And by using these pieces, you can actually craft news stories and opinion editorials from that information and create unique content for your blog that way too. Now, another method that I use for finding great content ideas is I like to spy on the competition of my client. And this is a great way of finding what exactly is working for other people. You can use Majestic SEO, and you can spy on their link profile, and you can find out specifically what exactly they are doing. You can use link alerts from Simper.com, for example, and link alerts will come directly to your inbox as your competitors build their links. You can follow their social media, and when you follow their social media, you can find out what they are posting, and you can find out their followers, their influencers. When you use Twilio, you can find influencers in the industry. You can use Quora as a question and answer discussion site. Even use Reddit. Even by using Reddit, you can search for a topic like car accidents, because people post anonymously about discussions on their car accidents, and you can find content that way by crafting opinion editorials for your blog. The content cycle is fairly quick, and as far as how it works, it can be relatively easy and quick if you want to do it that way, but when you spend time on your content, you create higher quality content, and that's what Google likes. Basically, how the content cycle works is you write your content, you publish it, then people read it, people are going to share it, people are going to comment on it when the content is shared on Twitter, when it's liked on Facebook, and you want to repeat this cycle for every piece of content you create. Because while Matt Cutts of Google has stated that social shares and other signals do not influence rankings, they do, however, influence ranking indirectly by the shares and interaction on social networks through the knowledge graph. So it's important to have social media as an integrated part of your content strategy. Links. They fit into the SEO equation, and anybody that believes that is under the misconception that links no longer matter are mistaken. Matt Cutts has recently stated as last month that links are still very important to Google. Links are the best, most trustworthy way of vetting the popularity of a website online. And several months ago, about 5 months ago, my blog guest was the target of guest blogging, and Google targeted my blog guest, which is basically a link network for a ton of SEOs, and they would exchange links with other SEOs and so forth in order to increase rankings on their site. And one of the things Matt Cutts talked about is you can forget about it. Get blogging is done. So what are good links now? Good links are editorial in nature. They tend to pass great value and they pass great page rank. And they have high page rank. Now, that is to say you don't want to always go after the same type of link. You always want to have a very natural link profile. And the natural link profile does include some links that have low page rank, but they can also be high quality sites. The trick is you don't want to have low quality sites as part of that link profile. You also don't want to go after links that have a spammy history, because Google has recently talked about being able to look at the history of specific links as a factor in their results. And of course, good links do come from high quality authority websites. There are also bad links. These links they tend to be built automatically. They pass low value and typically have no page rank, but keep in mind, no page rank is not necessarily just a deciding factor. They have very low page rank, or they have a very bad history, or they have little to no history. And in addition, bad links do tend to come from bad quality domains. The bad quality domains have bad techniques applied to them. There are two schools of thought in SEO. You have white hat and black hat, and the third, if you count gray hat, which is kind of a blend of both. White hat link building follows the guidelines completely and is focused on long-term results. Black hat is churn and burn. They build the domain, hammer it until it reaches number one, and move on to the next one. Now, here's the thing. If you don't stay within Google's guidelines, you risk opening yourself up to a penalty. Google had their guidelines published freely for all to see at the following links on this page. Google's intention is to match results with user queries. They want to avoid spam, and they will reward high-quality, high-authority sites. Next, I'd like to get into some technical SEO, some general best practices and tools. Technical SEO is mostly about on-site optimization. It can be extremely complex, but in some cases, it can be extremely simple. The best technical SEO starts out with choosing the best keyword phrases, and this is an instance of how simple the technicality of SEO can be. Without the best keyword phrases, you can't expect great results. Start out by researching your local area by population, say through Wikipedia, for example. You want to drill down to the counties and use the counties as the city plus keyword plus lawyer. So, for example, Irvine personal injury lawyers. Next, obtain the monthly search volume using the Google Keyword Planner tool. It's important to, when you're doing this, to target the specific location, because otherwise, if you target all locations in the Keyword Planner, it's going to give you inaccurate results, because it will give you searches that people have performed in Washington for Irvine personal injury lawyers. This will tell you how viable your keyword phrase is month to month. Around August of 2013, Google released a new search engine called Hummingbird. Now, some call it an algorithm update, but it's not an algorithm update. It's a new search engine. Its major improvements were to contextual search and conversational search. Conversational search, for example, is when somebody asks, where do I find the best personal injury lawyer in Irvine, California? What Hummingbird has improved is Google's ability to interpret that entire phrase, and not just single words or pairs of words within that phrase. And one of the new things about Hummingbird is that as a feature of it is entity search. And entity search, Hummingbird is not an entity. An entity is, in simplest terms, it's basically the sum of the relationship of groups of related keyword phrases. So, for example, if you type in related phrases like the first black president of the United States, or POTUS, or whatever, you'll get Barack Obama. Now, one of the goals of technical SEO is to make your site easily crawlable. You want to make sure it uses natural linking best practices and has easily crawlable content. URLs should be formatted appropriately, and when I mean appropriately, what I mean is this. You've probably seen URLs that are very nonsensical. They start out with something/something ampersand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's generally not the best way to format a URL. When you optimize a URL, you include key phrases that also describe what's on the URL. For example, something.com/something else as the category /some-personal-injury-lawyers.html. And it's a much easier URL to read, and it will help communicate what's on the URL to people, and it will make them more apt to click on it. There are a number of errors that basically are death for any website. You always want to make sure that your website does not serve up errors and is as clean as possible. For example, one of the worst errors is a 404 error. This means that a page may have been removed, but is not redirected to another destination. You go to a site, it has 404 error not found. That's a 404. Some common web browser errors include 400 bad requests, 403 forbidden, meaning you don't have access to it, and of course 404 not found. Now there are server errors which can plague websites, such as 500 internal server error and 503 server unavailable. All of these are extremely bad. Internal server error usually means that there's a misconfiguration somewhere on your website server, and it's probably a good idea to get in touch with your SEO vendor or website vendor as quickly as possible about that. Coding and site speed is another major aspect of technical SEO because this can impact site performance significantly. Sites should load fast everywhere, from iPads to mobile devices. They should be displaying properly on every device that exists. Load times in a perfect world on the following connections should be, for example, 1.5 megabits per second. In a perfect world, load time should be about 5 to 7 seconds. On a 3 megabit per second connection, load time should be around 3 to 5 seconds. On a 6 megabit per second connection, which is probably what most people use today, the load time of a website should be around 1 to 3 seconds. In the olden days, sites used to be coded in tables. It was an awful way to develop sites because it would often lead to code bloat. Instead, you want to use divs and CSS. It uses less code when coded properly, and it also, when coded properly, lends to faster load times. Here again, publishing, we use all the latest coding methods, so you never have to worry about that. In the olden days, fixed width designs were the standard, but there were many problems with them. For example, the site would show up as the same design across devices. It became a best practice over time to create designs that were responsive, and responsive design fixes these problems. Now, with proper responsive design coding, websites show up as they should across a wide variety of devices. And some of the issues that you can run into with responsive design include no split page rank. This is one thing that responsive design fixes. And when you have a separate mobile site, for example, that is not a responsive design, what will happen is that you potentially create duplicate content issues. You have two different URLs with the same content on them. Responsive design takes the two different URLs and merges them by using a single style sheet. You serve up the exact same content. You do not worry about any kind of responsive, or you do not worry about any kind of duplicate content issues. You don't worry about split page rank, and you don't have to worry about any incompatibility issues whatsoever. Responsive design is the way to go if you're building a new website because it eliminates those issues, and Google themselves have talked about publicly how they prefer responsive design because of the fact that it improves user experience across a wide range of devices. Sitemaps are another very important point to technical SEO. They help Google see your site completely, and there are a wide variety of types of sitemaps, and you want to submit a sitemap that suits the purpose of your site. For example, If your site is mostly videos, you might want to submit a video sitemap. You want to submit XML sitemaps to Google Webmaster Tools and use HTML sitemaps for human visitors. Now this goes into our next portion of this discussion. There are two suites of tools that Google provides to website owners, and those are Google Webmaster Tools and Google Analytics. Google Webmaster Tools is a suite of technical tools aimed at uncovering crawl errors and which keywords are popular on the site, submitting sitemaps, and you can diagnose indexing issues with this tool. With Google Analytics, it is a website stat tracking tool, and this means that you can diagnose issues that may be causing high bounce rate. You can set up A/B testing for different versions of web pages, everything that you can think of with Google Analytics and Google Webmaster Tools. Now, should you use both? Absolutely. It is one of the best things that you can do for your website is to use these tools. They will help improve your results in the end. Now, there are other tools in the trade that are also pretty effective, and they make everyday manual tasks easier and more automatic. So, for example, Screaming Frog is a tool that is a spider, it's a crawler like Google, and it lets you see a full site automatically. And you can see the keyword phrases on the site, you can see the meta descriptions, you can see the H1s, you can see the title, all from the panel of Screaming Frog immediately. The next tool I want to talk about is Scrapebox. And Scrapebox actually has its roots in Black Hat, because what Black Hat would use Scrapebox for is they would use it for automatic comment posting on blogs, no-follow blog comments. They would use it for all types of other spamming automatic purposes. But they can be used for white hat reasons as well. You can, for example, you can scrape the keyword position information from Google and output it to a spreadsheet using Scrapebox if you wanted. Then, with Raven tools, Raven has an entire suite of tools in its program. It's not just about links, and it's not just about its site auditor, although it's a very powerful part of it. And one of the things about Raven is that it will crawl your site, and it will also display all types of HTML issues, all types of programming issues, whatever that may be impacting your SEO. And these tools are very effective for uncovering potential issues. The best optimization strategy is white hat. You always want to focus on the long term, and you always want to focus on the 5 trust factors. These trust factors are quality, uniqueness, authority, relevance, and trust, or the acronym CORT. For best practice on SEO titles, you've probably seen on some websites where spammy SEOs have created titles with 4, 5, 10 keyword phrases. They've created descriptions that match the title. That is not something you want to do. For best practices for SEO titles and meta descriptions, both of these factors should be completely unique across every single page. And that's what we do here at James Publishing. We focus on the best practices, the latest standards in optimizing our client sites. Now, in addition, for SEO titles, you tend to want to stick with 50 to 60 characters in order to avoid having your title cut off in search results. Now, there are exceptions to this, and that would be if, say, for example, you have a little bit of a long keyword phrase you want to include in the beginning, then you include the title of the page, then you include the branding information about your law firm. And what happens here is when you do it this way, you want to make sure that the first 2 items appear before things are cut off. It's okay if your branding kind of disappears, but you want to make sure that the important information is at the beginning. The keyword phrase that you're targeting for the page, along with the title of the article. For meta descriptions, best practices dictate that you stick with 150 to 160 characters. This will help ensure that it's not cut off by Google or Yahoo or Bing, and you want to make it catchy enough that a user will actually want to click on your site in the results, because the meta description is what appears in the search results, and that's the first thing you want your user to see. Now, there are some SEOs who suggest that it's okay to have Google automatically generate a description. I disagree with that. The reason being is that if Google automatically generates a description, then it's not going to be the most optimized description you want to communicate about that specific article. So I always err on the fact that you want to have a custom meta description, you want to put in the custom effort, you want to create the best site possible. When you're creating a winning SEO strategy for on-site, it's not just about meta tags, it's also about content. You want to integrate keywords properly and naturally. You don't want to sound like a robot when you're writing your articles. And you want to focus on people when you're writing the articles. Use 2 to 3 repetitions of keyword phrases, and do not, I repeat, do not focus on keyword density. Back in 2003, Google came out with the Florida update. And this was aimed at getting rid of content that was spammed to death by SEOs who used very high density keyword phrase counts, mistakenly believing that it would raise the rankings of websites. Matt Cutts said time and time again, there is no keyword density, and it's all about relevance. You also want to use images effectively in your content. This is another great optimization point. You don't want to use random images. You want to make sure that they are physically optimized to around 30K in size total for the image. You also want to use proper alt text. And when you use proper alt text, see, here's what happens. When Google crawls a page, or any search engine for that matter, and it crawls an image, images are displayed as a blank space. They do not see the image by default. So how do we fix that? We use something that's called alt text. When you write proper alt text, you use the keyword phrase to describe the image. And this is another example of good optimization because it gives you yet another opportunity to show up in a different set of results, which are the image search results. And also, do not forget to optimize file names either. You probably see file names all the time where it says 280 by 280 img yada 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 .jpg. You want to change that. You want to change it to either the descriptive keyword phrase, or you want to change it to a keyword phrase which is part of the targeted keyword phrases for the page. That way, you can target additional results and give better opportunity to show up on Google. Now, I'm sure as attorneys, you all know that when the big end of the day thing for your business are leads. They're calls and they're leads. And great SEO means great conversion of all traffic on the site. And the way you do this are through calls to action. These calls to action on your site are extremely important, and they are essential to converting calls into leads. Some call to action ideas that you can include on your site include using a call us phone icon, use a free case evaluation button, and a text-based phone number, because on mobile devices, when you have a text-based phone number, it will automatically allow you to tap on it, and it will bring up the call screen, and you can automatically call through your website. That's important to have. Without a good call to action, as one final point, without a good call to action, it will be difficult to convert leads, because it's kind of like bringing a visitor to your site. They're hunting around, they're kind of blind, and they don't know what they're doing. That's what the call to action does. It helps make it clear what you want them to do. Now, you also want to have your site optimized for social sharing. This is extremely important. If you have a site and it has, say, a page of content without any kind of share this, add this, or whatever icon on there, then you end up not being able to share that content. You end up not being able to make your clients easily share it. And this is important. You want to use plugins like add this and share this. It's important not to get caught without a share function. And another plugin you may want to use for WordPress is called Discuss. So many people have accounts on Discuss already, and Discuss will help facilitate the discussion of your posts in the community, because one of the things that people don't like doing all the time is creating specific accounts on specific websites. And when you use Discuss as a plugin, people already have an account, makes it easy for them. They just click a couple buttons and they log in to discuss what your content's all about. So here's some frequently asked questions that we usually tend to get on SEO. Do you really need SEO? You're probably thinking about this a lot, but I say absolutely. Reason why is because it helps maximize your opportunities by helping you appear in organic results along with other types of results you may already be appearing in. For example, local results. Now, there may be changes coming to that because as of this morning, Google has announced a brand new Google Local algorithm update. And I just found out about it before starting this webinar. And you can, if you go to SE, that's S as in Sam, E as in Eric, roundtable.com, the big news story right now is the latest Google Local update. And you can read all about it on that website. Now, what is PPC? PPC is pay-per-click, but does not drive organic ranking. This is a mistake that some SEOs seem to make. However, it is a good option for diversifying between your online marketing efforts. To avoid penalties, you always want to focus on white hat strategy. You do not want to focus on the quick fix, which is what black hats do. They're the price you pay hiring an amateur versus a professional. With a professional, they're already familiar with the strategy necessary to get your site to the top, and they won't waste your time. We are already ready with all that information. We can help you with your website should you choose to hire us. And one of the big things I do want to talk about is off-site optimization strategy. Now, you may see posts all around claiming that SEO is dead. SEO is not dead, but spamming absolutely is dead, which is what some people who are not familiar with the field tend to call SEO. While spamming practices were acceptable in the distant past, spamming was always against Google's guidelines. You want to drive value through your links. When you plan a custom strategy is when you win the most. Spying on your competitors and using advanced search operators can help you create this custom strategy by finding all of these additional opportunities that you would never find otherwise. Different types of links mean different types of results, but combined together can be either a positive or negative on your SEO strategy. You always want to focus on high-quality followed links, but no follow links can also contribute, provided that they are not low-quality links. And there has been debate between SEOs whether or not no follow links are actually acceptable with SEO, or whether or not Google actually counts them. Well, they actually do, because I have been part of several very, very large attorney websites in which, one of which was that by a manual penalty. This was not here because at James Publishing, we have not had any of our sites suffer through this. So you're safe with us. But at this other website that was not part of James Publishing, they were slapped with a manual penalty. And one of the big things that we had to do is we had to remove a ton of no-follow links from various types of bad blogs. And it was, we probably had to remove about 250,000 links just to get out of that manual penalty. So one of the big things when you're focusing on your off-site optimization strategy, you always want to focus on high-quality stuff. So like directory links are still acceptable, provided they're high quality directories. You want to concentrate on authority links and editorial links. Now, the kind of links that you don't want to focus on, for example, are forum links, footer links, and other types of spammy links. Basically, if you're not following the spirit of the guidelines, you will eventually have a very bad penalty levied against you. So always follow the spirit of Google's guidelines, and your website should be fine. When should you say no to a link? I get this question quite a bit. You should say no to a link when they are gambling sites, porn sites, Viagra sites, payday loan sites, and anything that is deemed questionable to you. If you don't see anything that is good enough to be followed or good enough to add per Google guidelines, I would simply say, just say no. Now, where do you get these links? How do you divide this custom strategy this way? Well, one option of getting links is you can get links through Google. By using advanced search operators, you can refine your results. And some of these search operators include all in title and all in URL. This means that your search, when you use all in title, colon, then add URL plus keyword, this means you put this in the Google search box and you replace keyword with, say, personal injury lawyers. And this will bring up results that have add URL within the title of the page. And you can go through just various keyword phrases and find different linking opportunities back to your site this way. Another one is all in URL, and submit site or add URL at that point, because this will search for URLs that have add URL or submit site in them. And there are all sorts of variations you can use to add URL or submit site, like submit link or whatever. And other ways to get links include getting involved. You can get involved in your industry, get involved in your community. And one of the illustrations I want to point out as well is by getting involved in SEO. Danny Sullivan is the editor of Search Engine Land. Matt is the guy who is in charge of Google algorithm updates, and these guys were at conferences. So when you get involved in your industry and your community in such a way, you can find influencers in your industry of personal injury or social security, disability, whatever. You can make contact with these influencers who will be more willing to share your content with everybody else because they now know you. They now have contact with you. They know what you're about. It'll make it easier on that front. What you should be getting from your SEO vendor, you should be getting both on-site and off-site SEO as part of your vendor services. If you do one or the other, it won't give you the results you seek. Other services depend on the provider. They should give you monthly progress reports, including ranking, analytics, and link building reports, although these do tend to vary by vendor. There are a number of common vendor objections, and one common one is they say that SEO is a trade secret. When you do white hat SEO, this is not true. It is all published in the Google guidelines for everyone to see. Another objection, we don't give that info out. Why not? What's wrong with giving this information out? You don't need a rankings report. Some things rankings are dead. They are not dead. They are even more important because they are a great indicator regarding how well your site is performing. Here's an overall report. Overall reports muddy the data and do not give you what you need. Specifics. We don't have results yet. How long has it been? A month? That's understandable for certain keyword phrases. It depends on the effort your SEO vendor has been putting forth on your website. Now, there are several SEO myths and scams you have that other vendors do not want you to know about. SEO transparency. This is the concept that all companies should freely share their data with everyone. And Moz.com does this with great success. Do they suffer in search? No, they don't. They've only suffered recently with a manual penalty this week because one of their authors on newmoz.com, which is their personal blog, has committed an exact had submitted a post with exact match keyword phrase anchor text. Now, there's another myth: SEO is not dead. You've probably seen blogs that talk about how SEO is dead. That is totally not true. And it's also not about social media. Social media is one part of an overall SEO strategy. You have another myth called keyword density. And one thing about keyword density is this myth went out with the Florida update in 2003. And this seeks to stop spammy sites which abuse keyword density immensely. Keyword density is as useless as bringing a feather to a fight. It won't help you in the least. Other shady vendor tactics include black hat SEO, like restoring, and they also may restore an old design used ages ago, but they're still charging you $5,000 for it, and other tactics. If you have a shady SEO, getting rid of them may not be as easy as saying okay class, but it can be done. You can hire us if you want to hire us if you suspect your SEO of being shady. We have industry experience with helping clients out of their clutches and providing clients with a much better, higher class of SEO services. And here at James Publishing, this is what we offer. We offer professional website design. We offer professional SEO packages. We offer professional social media campaigns, professional local SEO campaigns, and much, much more. And we will be having another webinar in about 2 weeks, and we will also send the notification out. And I'd like to pass the torch to Travis Hayes, our president, and he is here to answer your questions. And also, you'll probably want to visit our latest website, jamestoolbox.com. This has SEO case studies of the highest caliber, so you can see what's working in SEO today. And here's Travis.
Thanks, Brian. Brian's going to join me for some of his Q&A because he's a lot smarter than I am. But we're going to answer some of the questions that were sent over to us previously. And Bill from Los Angeles, he's a personal injury attorney up in the LA area, asked what's the difference between SEO and SEM. SEO is obviously search engine optimization. SEM is search engine marketing. SEM, it's really kind of the broad acronym for everything to do with PPC, banner ads, paid advertising, and SEO somewhat falls under that umbrella, but there's really not a great SEM plan without a strong SEO strategy. That's what we tell everyone. And we strongly encourage you to have a broad portfolio when it comes to your online marketing. Solely relying on SEO is not a strategy. Solely relying on PPC is not a strategy. You certainly want to be diversified in your efforts. Lynn in Orange County, California, right down the street from Los Angeles, asked, she talked with a company and they claim they can guarantee first page rankings. Is that possible? No. And if anyone ever guarantees you first page rankings, you should run for the hills. Matt Cutt addresses this very clearly in multiple blogs. They do not have any relationships with any SEO companies. They openly discourage any vendor from guaranteeing first page results because it just can't be done. Now, you can make some assumptions and make reasonable expectations based on doing everything that you're supposed to do on a consistent basis over a consistent period of time, and that typically will pay off. If you do things the right way, like everything else in life, typically it pays off. Now, how long it takes and where that gets you, that's a whole different situation, and it's very much market dependent and keyword dependent. So we're happy to address that, on an individual basis. Do I need PPC or SEO? I tell every attorney you need both. You're not going to rank for every key phrase organically. And conversely, you're not going to rank, you don't want to have to pay for every ranking in your paid advertising with PPC. SEO is much more long-term. It has an organic effect. It has a viral effect. Your conversion rates are typically higher, and the quality of the lead is typically higher. So from a strategy perspective, we say both, and we strongly believe in SEO versus PPC. I'm going to let Brian answer this one, and Joseph from New York says, how long will it take to rank well for a particular keyword?
And this question can be kind of frustrating because it actually has the answer. It depends. It depends on a number of factors for a wide variety of keywords, and we won't know until we do a particular keyword phrase analysis. It can take, for less competitive keyword phrases, for 500,000 results in the index or less, it can probably be around 2 to 3 months, depending on the effort that the search engine company puts into the website. And for more competitive keyword phrases with 20 million results or more, those are majorly competitive markets, and it can take up to a year or two or more to actually get to the first page of Google for those keyword phrases. So until we get further analysis done for you, it would be very difficult to provide a specific answer to that question.
No, don't go anywhere, Brian, because John from Dayton, Ohio asked, we built links to our website, and he's wondering why his page rank has not increased. Now, why would that happen?
There are several reasons. Number one, Google had not done an update to PageRank in a very long time, and that could be a reason. Another reason could be that you have no follow links in your link profile, and if these links are no follow, then those are not going to pass any PageRank at all. And what you want to do is when you're building links, you need to concentrate on high quality authority links that actually do pass PageRank, and all of these need to be followed links in order to eventually see a PageRank increase.
The question I often get from a lot of attorneys, and Samantha, a paralegal in New Jersey, asked this question, is does she have to be active on social media to improve my rankings? I'm going to address this one, Brian. The answer is yes, and it depends on the social media platform that you're working with. Bing and Yahoo do factor in Facebook postings and links and Twitter links in their algorithm. Google does not. We primarily focus on Google, and Google recently come out and openly said that they do consider Google Plus postings in their algorithm, and that it does play a factor in your rankings. So it does pay in many ways to be active on social media. There's still, the jury's out, no pun intended, in a lot of regards to how active and on what platforms and to what extent you should be active, but it certainly does pay to be active on social outlets. But if your primary focus is Google, then you need to be very active on Google Plus, and that's something we highly recommend. We have a few more questions that have come in, and I'm going to let Brian answer this one. An attorney asked, do I have to use SEO for every blog post that I write?
I say absolutely, because when you use SEO effectively, it will give you more opportunities to appear in the search results for targeted keyword phrases. If you say, for example, there are two comparisons. If you have a blog that has not been SEO'd, you may show up in number one or someplace randomly, but that's going to be for fewer keywords than if you have your blog post optimized for targeted keyword phrases. So yes, I say absolutely. That's what we do at James Publishing. I optimize every blog post that I post for my clients. It is absolutely effective in getting your site higher in the rankings.
There's a question that we get on a regular basis that I like to answer myself, and what's a good price to pay for SEO services? This is the number one question I get from every single attorney. It varies. There's no right answer. If someone has a canned program, it's likely not going to be overly successful for you. I'm not going to say it's not going to work. There's aggressive, there's over-aggressive, and then there's under-aggressive. And we are right in the middle. We believe that, to be honest with attorneys and manage their expectations as to what they can expect in a reasonable period of time for a reasonable number of key phrases. And then every keyword is different. I mean, New York personal injury attorney is a very competitive key phrase. It's very unlikely that you're going to rank first page for that very quickly if you're nowhere to be found. Now, for someone who is in Covington, Indiana, my hometown, if you want an attorney to rank, quickly for that, then your budget's going to be a lot less than if you're in Chicago, Illinois. So it just very much depends on where you're located, what's your practice area, and the size of your firm and the market that you're trying to rank in. Brian, I'm going to let you answer this question. What is PageRank, and what's it mean to us website?
Well, PageRank is kind of funny in how it was named. PageRank was named after Larry Page, one of the bigwigs at Google, who was the inventor of the PageRank algorithm. And simplistically, it is a very simple way to determine how valuable the links to a website are and how valuable that website specifically is. So while it's not going to tell you everything, it will tell you kind of, it does give you an arbitrary number which you can use to determine which websites are going to be valuable to get links from.
The last question that we have is, what can I do to increase my rank in other search engines besides Google? And this is a very good question. And that I kind of alluded to this in the social media question. And in Google, Bing, Yahoo, they're all very different. Bing is more active on content, link development, directory submissions, Facebook and social presence and social signals. So if you want to be have a higher presence or a greater presence on Yahoo and Bing, I would say get more active in your local directories, get more active in your local citation buildings, get more active in reviews, get more active in Facebook and Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on. That will pay great dividends in those search engines, and nothing beats great content in any search engine. So, the days of SEO haven't changed. They've obviously changed quite a bit, but how we do it is still very, very common and it hasn't changed. We develop high-quality content. We build high-quality links back to your website, and that typically pays off in every search engine. So that's been our all the questions in the webinar, and Brian is a fantastic resource here at James Publishing. He's an SMX speaker. He is a great part of our team and provides some very high-quality services for us. So if you have any questions, feel free to email Brian or give us a call, and we will answer them as quick as we possibly can. And we hope to see you in 2 weeks. And again, for more information, check out our website or go to jamestoolbox.com, and we will do our best to get back to you as soon as we can. See you next time. Thank you.
Good
right.
job,
Good
Brian.
job,
Brian.
Awesome.
Good job.